we have a text container with no columns inside, only one column, and the lines of text are far too long. It's not easy to read a text with such long lines. So we will make 2 columns in that text box. By the way, did you see that when you are, don't do that, just watch. When you are making a new document in InDesign, you have the possibility here to make a document with more than 1 column. But these are special columns. You will not use it. It is for far advanced user. These are just lines, pink lines, which will appear on the document just as margins do appear in pink on the document. So don't use these columns. Instead, we'll use the columns for text boxes. Okay, so you select the text box, this text box with the black arrow, and you will go in the object menu to text frame options. So this is an item, a menu item we'll use a lot, so you may remember, it may be useful to remember the shortcut Control B or Command B on the Mac. I will not use a lot of shortcuts because you will use a lot of softwares this year, and it will be a mess in your head if you're trying to remember a lot of shortcuts for each of these softwares. So don't try. Let this to advanced users. Maybe later, next year, when you will be using only 1 or 2 or 3 softwares max, but not 12 softwares. Okay. But this shortcut is useful. Control B. In the text frame options, you will be changing the number of columns here. You will check the preview checkbox there. And then you see you have 2 columns of text. You have the gutter here, which is a little bit too narrow. So I'll change the size of the gutter. I will increase it to 7 mm, for example. Anyway, you may come back when you want in this text frame options panel and change. That's not a problem. That's not definitive. Okay. Okay, so we'll for now the text box has no color, no background color. We will put a background color to it. You don't have to put a background color to text boxes every time, of course. You may leave text boxes with transparent background, and you see what's behind, pictures and other boxes with color. But for the meaning of the study here, we will put a color in the background. So we'll use, okay, I have to say, when you have the text box selected, you have in the toolbox here 2 swatches. One for the frame, the color of the frame, and one for the color of the background. Make sure the one which is on the top of the other is the background swatch, background color swatch. So if you know about Photoshop, you know you are able to double click on the color swatch, and you have a color selector, a color picker which comes. In InDesign, you will not use it because it is better to make the colors in the swatch panel. Don't double click on the color swatch in the toolbox in order to choose color. That's not a good thing to do. So cancel. And instead of making the color in the toolbox by double clicking, I will go in the swatch panel, which is here, but I will show you how to go to that in the menu. Window, color, swatches. Window, color, swatches. Okay, you may detach the panel with this little name here. I don't remember. How do you say anglais in English? Tab. Okay, tab. I just asked the question and I remember. So you take the panel with by its tab to detach. It's easier to use. Okay, we are in a document for print, so these are ink mixing. All the colors are showing quantities of ink. You know, in print you use cyan, magenta, yellow and black. Okay, black which is not told with the B letter, because B is for blue, so you use K letter for the black ink, which also has a meaning, because in the printing industry it's the key color, the one the print guy is using to align all the other colors on the paper, so the key color. That's for the little story about it. Okay, so anyway, we have only colors which are made with inks, because we started with a print document. It's not a problem. InDesign documents can integrate, you can put in InDesign documents ink colors or light colors, colors made with lights. So we'll make now a color made of red, green and blue. So you go in the small menu on the top right of the panel and you choose new color swatch. Okay, here you have the mode for making the color, not CMYK. We will choose RGB. Okay, you put you choose the color, and just like in any Adobe software, when you have one color, you have chosen one color, you may change the lightness of the color with the Shift key and changing just one of the three cursor here changes the lightness of the color. Okay, nice tip. First choosing the color, then with the Shift key changing the lightness of the color. Okay, when you are choosing a color which is very bright, you have this little warning which tells you, be careful. Sorry, I must say, on the screen you're looking at, you don't see that I've chosen a bright color, a bright green color, because it's not very good. But on your screen, you may see that in RGB you have the possibility to have really bright colors, which is nice if you are doing a document about comic strips with bright colors, for example. So you don't have to care about this warning, which tells you that this bright color will be dull on the paper. It will lose its brightness. It's a normal process in printing. You cannot print bright colors unless you're using a high-end printing system, but not the basic system. These are always dull color with no brightness. And the high-end system, using six color instead of 4 for printing, it is not cheap. It will cost you a lot. But for example, first page of magazines are sometimes printed in 6 color, bright, and the inner pages of the magazine are in 4 color, a little bit dull. Okay. So you have created RGB color, a mix of lights, red, green and blue lights, and you have the possibility to have brighter colors than creating or using CMYK colors. By the way, our picture here is RGB 2. We have taken the picture on the internet. Most of the pictures of the internet are in 3 colors, mix of red, green and blue. Bright colors for the screens, of course. And it's not a problem to use them in InDesign. So maybe if you already know InDesign, your teacher told you, if the document is for print, always use CMYK colors and CMYK pictures. That was true in the 90s, but that's not true anymore. It's 15 years, it's not true anymore. You may use RGB pictures in InDesign documents, and RGB colors. That's not a problem, even if the document is for print. So, don't do that. I'll just show you here a little article about it. So this is a nice reference website about InDesign, InDesignSecrets.com, with David Blattner, which is one of the specialists, the most renowned specialist in the world about InDesign. And David Blattner tells that you should import RGB images into InDesign, and then you convert it to CMYK when you export. Export to what? Export to PDF. And the PDF file will be CMYK, and you give it to your printman, which he will print it. So it's better to make the conversion to RGB to CMYK the later as late as possible. Thanks. As late as possible in the process. Not from the moment you are working on the picture in Photoshop. It is early in the process. It's not a good idea. Make the conversion from RGB to CMYK the later possible in the process. So I leave you read this article later if you want. This is interesting. Okay, so not a problem if we use RGB pictures and RGB colors in a document, which will be finally printed on paper, because the document, the same document, may be used to display on tablets, smartphones, and computer screens. So don't use dull color from the start, use bright colors. They will become dull on the paper, but you will have bright colors on the tablet, on the smartphone, and on the computer screen. That's the idea. Any question? Does anyone didn't understand? Anyone didn't understand what I told? Great. Okay, so we got a background, a color background of the text box, and you see we have a problem. The text is too close to the edge, so we will put a margin in the box. We go back in the text frame options, Control B, and here you have the option for the indent spacing, inset spacing. That's the inner merging. So you keep the chain not broken, okay, like that, and you change here the margin. So the text is not as close to the edge now. That's better. Okay, we'll use a feature of InDesign which is called the text wrap. You may go to the window menu and grab the text wrap panel. Okay, what happens if you put the picture at the same place the text is? We will move the picture with the black arrow at the same place, okay. Of course, the picture is behind the text because it has come earlier in the process and the text is much younger in the document. Anyway, we will put the picture on top of the text. So we'll first, before using the text wrap options, we will go to the layer options, window layers. We have one layer in this document. We will make a lot of layers, 3 more layers in the future, but now we'll stay with just one layer now. We'll open the layer here to see what's inside. And you see we have the text, the picture here, and the text here. Okay, you just grab the picture and put it over the text, or you may do the other way. The text, you grab it and you put it under the picture. Anyway, the picture is now on the top, as you can see. Okay, now with the picture selected, in the text wrap options you will activate this option, and the text does not go behind the picture. The picture pushes the text. That's the point of text wrap. So the text is too close to the picture. I will make a margin, a text wrap margin now, using this option here. Okay, you see the margin. Okay. So it's time for the break, unfortunately, I think. But you will save the document on the hard drive, and we will use it in the afternoon to continue to learn how InDesign works. We have a lot to learn about InDesign. Okay, so if you connected to if you logged to the computer anonymously, be aware that your documents may disappear if you shut down the computer. So maybe it's a good idea to not shut down the computer during the break, and to save the document on a key or hard drive, external hard drive. Anyway, if you lose your document, it's not a problem. I will give you mine on the network, and you may start with my document. You may continue with my document. No. So no problem here. You may even lose your document. It will not be a catastrophe. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So we were there, and the picture is too large to be placed nicely on the text. So we will select the picture, the container. So it is blue vector, blue frame on the picture. It is selected with the black arrow, and we will use the free transform tool in order to resize the picture. Resize down, make it smaller. Okay, so once it is resized, the free transform tool permits to move the picture, as does the black arrow. And you see that the text is pushed by the picture. It is a wrap, a text wrap. Okay, no problem. Everybody got it? Okay. So I show you a little thing here. You do not do that. You just watch. I will cancel the wrapping on that picture. So the text goes behind the picture, of course. And I show you that if you double click, don't do that, just watch. If you double click with the black arrow on the picture, of course, you're working on the content of the frame, the picture. And it is possible, technically, to put the text wrap on the content level. You see, the brown frame. I'm working on the content, the picture, and I'm putting the text wrap option on the content. Then, when I'm clicking just beside, it is deselected. When I come back, just clicking, I'm selecting the container, and it seems it works just the same, but it's different. The text wrap is not on the container, it is on the content, and it may be disturbing. When you come back on the document a few days later, you don't understand what's happening. Strangely, the picture pushes back the text. It is a text wrap, but in the text wrap panel, the text wrap function is not selected. So what's going on? So be careful about it. Don't put the text wrap function on the content. You will not understand what's happening a few days later when you come back on the document. So here I will double click and cancel the text wrap function. Click on the side, just click once. I'm working on the container and I'm putting the text wrap on the container. That's better. That's the thing to do. I'm warning you about some problems you may have using the software. So this is one problem which occurs from time to time. I will be talking about other problems as we go on. Okay. So I'm putting the picture on the side now. I will work only on the text, and later we will do some more text wrapping with more pictures. But for now, I would like to work on the text and increase the look of the text, give it a more professional look. Okay. Okay, don't forget to save your document from time to time. I'm changing the name. More than necessary here for just demonstration purpose. But when I'm working on a real document, I change on a regular basis the name of the file in order to create a new XML structure of the document. We don't see that. We just see a file on the hard drive, but when each time you record with a new name, the document is cleaned, the structure is cleaned, and that will prevent crashing of the document. Restoring a crashed document costs a lot, about 500 euros, maybe less, but most of the time it's a costly failure. You have to call a company in the Netherlands which is specialized in the getting you back your document, your crashed document. So don't play with that. Okay. And recording, saving your document on a regular basis with a different name has another advantage. Even if the documents are not crashed, they are still all usable. Maybe I will make a creative mistake in the making of my document, and I will change a lot of things, and it's a mistake. The day after I realize I made a big creative mistake, I will still have the previous documents to start from and forget all about the last document. For example, if I, in the document named author, I make a big creative mistake and change everything. I think it's nice, really. I'm super creative, and the next day I see the document and I realize it was just all shitty. I may start from the O3 instead of trying to correct everything I did wrong in the author. Okay, so that's the point. If you're working in a Photoshop or Illustrator or any software, that's a nice thing to do. Okay. Also, at one time of the creative process, I may choose to make two versions of the document, two different styles, and telling myself later I will choose which one is the best. Okay, and this is very important in the creative process when you're doing graphics. A nice thing may come when you mix two versions of this document. At one time, you have two versions. You told yourself you will choose one or the other, but it may be very interesting to mix parts of the one document and parts of the other, and you have a very rich, visually rich document from that process, from that creative process. Okay? Being in InDesign, Photoshop, Illustrator, or anything, that way of doing things is really interesting in graphic. Okay. So the picture is on the side. No more interacting with the text. Okay, one thing to do before working on the text is putting the picture on its own layer. So right now we have the basic layer, the default layer in InDesign. There must be a layer. Each time you create a document, there is one layer. I will rename it text. So you double click on the layer in the layers panel and you name it text. Okay. Next, I will create another layer by clicking on the notebook here. This is the second layer. I double click on it. And I can rename it pictures or something like that. Okay, and for now, the picture is still on the text layer, which is not good anymore. because we have a picture layer. So you may transfer, move the, okay, I was just trying because one student told me it worked, but it doesn't work, so I will use my way to transfer the picture from one layer to the other. Okay. So you select the picture with the black arrow on the page, and you see the picture as a square, a colored square in the layers panel, which indicates it is selected on the page. We don't need to have the layer opened, so I'll close it with the little arrow here. And I will transfer that one object which is selected, I will transfer it to the other layer just by moving the small square which is just in front of the name of the layer. Like that. So I transferred the picture from one layer to the other. So as you can see, the second layer, the pictures layer, displays objects on the page in red. The frames, the vectors are red. And now the vectors of that image is red because it is on the pictures layer. So if I'm working on the same publication each week or each month, I may remember that the text layer is blue, the picture layer is red, and even if I don't see the layers panel on the screen, just by looking at the color of the frames, the vectors, I can tell that element, that object is on the pictures layer, that one is on the text layer. But that's only when you're working on the same document each week, each month. You got used to recognize the colors of the layers. You will not do that. I think you don't have to remember, of course, and using the colors. You see what I mean? Okay. Okay. When I double click on the picture with the black arrow, now when I'm on the content, I'm working on the content of that picture, picture frame. You see, it is in another shade of blue. In fact, it is the inverse color of that one of the frame. Always. So red frame because it is on the layer which displays the object with red frames. But when I double click on the pictures, the color which indicates when that I'm working on the content, it is the inverse color of red. Okay. So it's a good idea when you changing the way the objects are displayed on the page, not to choose here gray. Otherwise you will have gray for the content, and for the container it's not a very good idea. You see, when you double click on the layer, you have the opportunity to change the way which color is used. Don't choose gray, it's not a good idea. Okay, I will work on the text. So a good, nice thing to do is to lock the picture layer by clicking just here. It puts a lock, so we will not select by mistake the picture